All right, today we're talking about something absolutely critical, survival. And I don't just mean for one person, I mean for a whole company. What does it really take to weather a huge disaster? You know, when everything that can go wrong does? Let's dive in.
Think about that for a second. What would it take to make your business just vanish? Overnight. I mean, it could be anything, right? A massive cyber attack, a flood, a key supplier suddenly going under. The reality is, in the world we operate in now, while the threats are everywhere, and the stakes, they've just never been higher.
So, let's get real for a minute. What does a major disruption actually look like? Because, when you start looking at the actual numbers, the picture they paint is, frankly, pretty terrifying. Okay, so first, let's talk about the money. We're talking about an immediate financial bleed-out. For a typical mid-sized company, every single hour of downtime, we're talking an average cost of over $300,000 per hour. Let that sink in. And, for the big guys, that number just goes through the roof.
But look, it's not just about losing money for a day or even a quarter. This is about whether you even exist tomorrow. Because a full 40% of businesses that get hit with a major disaster, they never reopen. That's it. Doors closed forever.
And okay, let's say you are one of the lucky ones. You managed to survive. The hit to your reputation can be the thing that finishes you off. Think about it from the customer's perspective. Nearly 60% of them will just lose faith and walk away for good after a big service disruption. That is a massive hole to try and dig yourself out of.
So, when you're facing odds like that, how do you even begin to fight back? Well, it all starts with understanding two key ideas. They sound similar, but they are very different. Business continuity and disaster recovery. Let's break down how these two lines of defense work.
First up, we've got business continuity, or BC. The best way to think about this is as the big overarching game plan. It covers the entire organization, your people, your processes, your tech, all of it. The whole point here isn't about cleaning up the mess after it happens. No, it's about having a plan in place to keep the essential parts of your business up and running during the crisis itself.
Now, disaster recovery, or DR, is a super important piece of this puzzle, but it's much more focused. Think of it as your IT lifeline. DR is the reactive part of the plan. It's what kicks into gear after the disaster hits, and its whole job is to get your technology and your data back online. So, DR is about rebuilding the tech, where BC is about keeping the whole business afloat.
So let's put it all together with an analogy. This really helps. Imagine your business is a big orchestra playing a concert. Business continuity, that's the conductor. Their job is to make sure the music keeps playing, the whole performance continues, even if the power flickers. Now, disaster recovery, that's your first-chair violinist. When a string on their instrument snaps mid-solo, their focus is laser-sharp. Replace that string and get back in tune as fast as humanly possible. See? You absolutely need both of them, and they have to be working together in perfect sync.
Okay, so how do you actually build this kind of resilience? The key thing to remember is that this isn't some project you do once and then check off a list. Nope. It's a continuous cycle, an ongoing commitment to being ready. And honestly, it's way more manageable than it sounds once you break it down into steps.
So, this whole process, it isn't a straight line from A to B. It's more like a circle, a living, breathing loop that you're always in. You kick things off by asking the big question, what could possibly go wrong here? That's your risk assessment. From there, you figure out a strategy and build a concrete plan. But here's the thing, a plan collecting dust on a shelf is totally useless. You have to train your people on it, and you have to test it, again and again. And because your business never stands still, you're constantly updating and improving that plan, which, you guessed it, leads you right back to assessing all the new risks. It's a cycle that truly never ends.
And this is exactly why that cycle is so important. What you're looking at here is a classic business impact analysis, and it shows how fast a crisis can spiral out of control. I mean, look at this. In the first hour, okay, customer service calls are spiking. People are noticing on social media. It feels manageable. But by the end of day one, you are actively losing money and the media starts calling. Fast forward to 1 week, and now you're losing actual customers, your brand is taking a serious hit, and after a month, we could be talking about an existential threat, losing your spot in the market for good. Time is absolutely your most precious resource here, and it's working against you.
All right,
let's pivot for a second. I want to shift how we're thinking about this. Because being prepared, it's not just about defense. It's not just some boring insurance policy you hope you never have to use. In today's world, being resilient is actually a powerful competitive advantage. And this right here shows you the payoff. It's not just a feeling, it's in the data. So look at that first bar. Companies that are prepared cut their downtime by 60%. 60. And remember that customer trust we talked about? Well, being prepared protects it. But for me, the most stunning number is that last one, the ROI. For every single dollar you invest in a solid continuity program, you can expect a return of $12. I mean, come on. That's one of the best business investments you can possibly make.
Really, it all boils down to this one simple, powerful idea. We live in a world that's always being disrupted. And in this world, the company that can promise its customers stability and then actually deliver on that promise, that's the company that's going to win. Your resilience, your ability to weather the storm, it stops being a background feature and becomes a primary reason why people choose to do business with you over anyone else.
And that brings us to maybe the most important point of all. This culture of resilience we've been talking about, it doesn't just bubble up from the bottom of the org chart. No way. It has to be driven from the very top. It's a leadership imperative.
Because when a crisis actually hits, the communication that comes from leadership is everything. This table lays out the 4 big rules. It's not just a to-do list, it's the formula for holding on to trust when it's at its most brittle. You have to be decisive, making the tough calls with the info you have. You have to be transparent, telling people what you know, but also what you don't know. Your message has to be consistent across the board. And maybe most importantly, you have to lead with empathy, acknowledging how the crisis is affecting real people, your employees and your customers.
And in the end, a memo isn't going to cut it. It's all about what you do. Effective leaders are seen. They're a calm, steady presence in the middle of the storm. They slice through the chaos and get everyone focused on what truly matters right now. And they make it a point to publicly back their response teams, empowering them to do what they've been trained to do. When your team sees you leading with that kind of calm and commitment, it does more than just make them feel better. It unleashes their ability to respond effectively. So I want to leave you with this one final question to think about. Because disruption isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when it comes, every single organization is going to be tested. Being resilient isn't something that just happens by accident. It's a deliberate choice. And the choices you make as a leader starting today will ultimately decide if your organization is one that's built to bend with the storm or one that's built to break.